Significant news has been coming in for the last couple of weeks. There's been rumours of investment funds, consortiums, and for me, this is big. If you are not aware of what I'm talking about here, I'm sure many of you are. I tweeted this probably within a few minutes of it coming out. So Jim Ratcliffe wants to buy a stake in Manchester United with a view to taking full control if the Glazers welcome new investment. Now, you may not know who Sir Jim Ratcliffe is. He's a billionaire. Owns and runs many businesses successfully. Tried to buy Chelsea a couple of months ago, which we'll talk about. But he's effectively a Manchester United fan that many Man United fans would like. Michael Knighton mentioned it in his consortium chat. This is now a reality. This is now an owner that we would like to be given a chance. And look, maybe he wouldn't do very well. Nobody's got every right to say it would work, but it would certainly be a better plan than the Glazers, because it's somebody who wants to rebuild the club, not for profit, invest in the club and get it back to where it needs to be. That is what Manchester United fans want. This is now, and if you've been watching the United Stand for, God, how long have we been talking about this? Years. Many, many times on many, many shows. And I have said it and we've discussed it. For me, personally, and many of you might agree, I always said, you've got to have a viable owner. Protests, emptying the stadium, online targeting of sponsors, all really effective. And we saw it with the Super League. But to remove the Glazers, I've always felt you've got to have a viable buyer. There is now a viable buyer. This is not nonsense. This is actually quotes coming out from his investment fund that they would like to invest in Manchester United if the opportunity was there, and then buy Manchester United. We have an opportunity now, and yes, we can talk about Casemiro and Milinkovic-Savic and Ronaldo's future and all that stuff, and we can talk about it in a few minutes' time. I've been waiting for, and I think it's what a lot of people have been waiting for, and we may have different ideas, but this is the one that I really think is the opportunity to grasp. And if we don't grasp it, then I think we'll forever look back on it and go, that was the opportunity. This is not an investment fund. This is not the Glazers selling it to another set of Glazers. This is somebody who very publicly has run businesses, a massive investor into the F1 Mercedes team, which is very successful as well. This is somebody that is not for profit, who is a fan of the club and the sport and wants to restore it and rebuild it and get it back. And this is somebody that you would hope would come into the club and recruit properly and not have a CEO who helped the Glazers bought the club and everything like that. This is a real opportunity. And I suppose the question is, what can we do as fans? Well, what we need to do here is not think about self-preservation and, you know, what's good for our group or this, that and the other. I will say this is the United Stand. Whatever people think about it, it's got a massive reach. A massive, massive reach. Use it. Utilise it. I know there's a protest outside the ground for the the game against Liverpool on Monday. Get the details to us. We'll run it for the next 3 days. Manchester United Supporters Trust, they need to get involved in this. Every group needs to unify and utilise everybody we can. Because there's only going to be 75,000 fans at the ground on Monday night. Because the Glazers don't have to sell. They don't have to sell. They can sit there, ride it out. And basically what Sir Jim Ratcliffe is saying is, look, if there's an opportunity there to invest and then long-term take over the club, we're in. What if the Glazers say there's not an opportunity, we don't want to sell? We as fans now have a viable buyer. That's like the firing whistle at the start of the race. It's time to run. And we've got to bloody run, and we've got to win this race. And as fans, we've got to basically show the Glazers, get out now and take this. There is an opportunity for you to go. Now your time is up. Not in 10 years because you think you can get the share price up. The time to go is now. The buyer is there. And we as a fan base have got to push that. Unified push it. So look, we've said it before. I'll say it again. The United Stand community, as big as it is there. If you've got protests or you've got plans, you've got anything in place, let's do it. Let's get it done. And then when it's done, we can all fall out again and start arguing about who the captain should be and who should play up front and all the petty things that we don't like each other for, apparently. That can all come back. I don't give a shit about Casemiro, Frankie de Jong, Milinkovic-Savic, João Felix. There is no signing that is going to make me go, well done Murta, well done Joel Glazer, well done Richard Arnold. Your time's up, lads. You're gone. I don't care if you go and buy Mbappe. It's not going to work. We've got to. This is not one summer now. We're talking about the last 17 years. We're talking about £500 million of debt. We're talking about dividends going out the club every bloody year. We're talking about Man City and Liverpool and Chelsea and even Arsenal and Spurs getting further and further away from us. This club is. We're talking about Old Trafford and it falling into disrepair. Don't fall for the trap. Don't fall into the Casemiro hype. There is a viable owner for this football club. Let's not miss this train. Let's not look back on this and go, we had an opportunity and we all got excited and hyped about Casemiro. The time is now. There is a viable buyer there. There is probably other viable buyers as well. We've got to get the Glazers out, and the way to do that, and I'm not saying empty the ground on Monday. I'm not saying that. But we've got to start doing things now, collectively, to remove the Glazers and show them that your time is up. It's time to go. Your time is up. And we have a viable option there. Of course, another path could be, and I hope the Glazers take this, without games getting cancelled and protests, you take the offer of what Sir Jim Ratcliffe basically wants. Apparently, Manchester United, the Glazers, are willing to give up a small percentage ownership in the club. Now, if they say Sir Jim Ratcliffe can buy that with a view to buying the club over the next couple of years, that's a starter for 10. We get a bit of stability. There's even talk that Ratcliffe would take a small investment in the club, invest in the club even as a small investor, and then as long as there's a long-term view that he gets ownership of the club. The time is now. The time is now. Insightful Twitter live with Phil De Bruyne today on this sales subject. Like you said, Mark, worse before better. Will Eric Ten Hag and Ronnie last until then, says Kevin. Glazers out, says CY. Would he know how to rebuild Manchester United successfully, says Nathan. Mate, he's a very, very successful billionaire who would just recruit the best CEO in the world, the best director of footballer in the world, the best players in the world. That's what you need. So Jim dreams, surely the Glazers would accept the additional investment and knowledgeable football voice. Confident this will happen, says Sambo. I don't want to be confident this is going to happen. I want us to make it happen as a fan base. I don't want to see divisions between the Man United Supporters Trust, the Red Army, the 58, United Stand, whatever these groups are. It has to be together, because ultimately, whatever the problems are, they can all come back when the club's sorted. This is a bit like, it's 10 times the Super League. It's an opportunity for everybody to come together and get the change that we want. His connection with Mercedes F1 team tells you the story is ready for change and ready to rebuild and win like he has with them. The most dominant 7 years in the sport. I'm all for it, says Barry. I say this now, if we continue to play rubbish football, don't see what difference Radcliffe will do. I want to be back, but this being stuffed every week kills me. Let's hope Radcliffe is serious, says Ray. And yes, says Crash Illustration. Well, let's not celebrate a goal before it's over the line. But look, just to give you a little bit more comments, this is a spokesman for Ineos billionaire confirmed that Ratcliffe would welcome the chance to talk to the club's American owners. If the club is up for sale, Jim is definitely a potential buyer, the spokesman said, and that's via the Times. Matt Dickinson, who's a very